Hello guys, welcome back to narsicloud. Um, so yesterday we talked about these concepts which are seeing in the diagram. We talked about VPC, private subnet, public subnet. We created VPC. We created two subnets, and we named them private and public subnets. And we attached internet gateway to VPC, and we created a custom routing table, and then we associated that to the public subnet. So and then we added a route in the route table, where it is using the internet gateway to route the traffic to the internet. So that's where we ended up yesterday. So today's focus is we are gonna create EC2 machine within the public subnet, and how we are gonna log into EC2 machine, and how we are able to access that from the internet. Um, so how does that internet traffic goes through and flows through this internet gateway and get to EC2 instance? How this internet gateway is helping us to connect to EC2, and so that will explain the concept of public subnet. So let's get back to our console. So here, this is the dashboard. So here, let's search for EC2 instance. First step, basically, we're gonna create a EC2 machine within the public subnet. That is our first step. Let's go back here. Launch instance. So here, like explained in my previous videos, it's gonna show up all the images available from this is the marketplace. So we're gonna choose free tier eligible Linux image. We're gonna select that, and then we will choose the micro. This is just for the demo purposes. I will go into detail all of the different options here when we get to EC2 section. Go to next configure. So it's gonna be number of instances, gonna be one, and we will choose our demo VPC, and then here we will have two subnets. These are the subnets we created in our last video. So we want to create this instance in our public subnet, so we're gonna choose that, and we're gonna enable this. So before we do this, let's get back to our VPC. So let's get back to VPC. We need to enable one option in VPC to assign a public IP address to our EC2 machine. So we go to VPC. We created this demo VPC, and then here let's go to edit DNS host names, and we need to enable this. If you don't enable that, then whatever the EC2 instances that you create within the subnet within that VPC, it's not going to assign any public DNS name to the EC2 instance, so you cannot access EC2 instance. So save that. Let's get back to, let's close this one. Let's get back to our previous screen where we're configuring our EC2 instance, and we assign auto assign public IP here, and then we will keep all the other options optional, whatever the default ones. And here we can provide user data, so that we can provide some of the commands here. So when the EC2 instance spins up, it's going to execute all these commands, and that will be ready to use. So for us, just for demo purposes, let's install Apache service in our EC2 instance. So let's search for AWS EC2 install Apache. So this is just one of the sudo commands. Let's quickly get that. So all we have to do is sudo service. You can do that. Sudo service http start and skip this as a shell script. Even if it is not started, then we can go ahead. When we SSH into EC2 instance, we can always run this command. So let's go back to next section would be adding storage. Let's keep it default. It's going to attach this root volume to our EC2 instance, and then adding tags. So we don't need to add any tags here. Let's configure security groups. So here let's so for now the default ones is SSH rule. What it says is we are this is one of the rules in security group. We're allowing the clients to log into this EC2 instance using SSH and TCP protocol. So this is a protocol we are allowing, and this is a port range, and the custom we're giving 000/0, which means that it's open to the world. Since it's for demo purposes, I think that should be fine. Let's name it demo VPC security group, and review and launch. So when we launch, we can create new key pair. So let's create a new pair. This one we can name it EC2 demo VPC and download that, and then we can launch instance. So meanwhile, show finder, let's go here, get back to cd downloads and copy these to mission. So before that, just for demo purposes, let's make a directory EC2 demo EC2 demo, and then copy that. So we're here, we demo that, okay, copy that, so copy this file into this folder. So we have this PM file, so we need that file to connect to EC2 instance. So later on, basically that's a PM file we're gonna use. That is a public private key pair, so which Amazon creates at the time of EC2 creation. Then we can use that key to do SSH into EC2 instance, so that authentication happens using SSH protocol. So let's see the status of our instance. So now this EC2 mission is running, and if you observe here, it got public DNS assigned. That's because we enabled at the VPC level to assign DNS name. We're gonna use this DNS name we can ping the EC2 instance using this DNS domain name. And you can see all the metadata here. Security groups we created inbound rules for SSH, So coming back to the diagram, at this point, this is the machine we created, which is in the public subnet. Um, and as you know, in our previous video, we already attached the routing table to the EC2 to the subnet, and then we also added the route to communicate from the internet to the EC2 machine, right? So the next step would be, if we try to ping this URL, if the server is running, HTTP server is running, then let's see if you're gonna be able to access that. So I'm gonna ping it. So you see it's waiting for that. It's not accessible because if you look at the rules in the security group, we allowed only one rule, which is only SSH. So it's not allowing any HTTP traffic. So that's why it's not opening up. It's still waiting for that. We can let's close this, and then let's try to do SSH. So before we do that, we need to change the permissions for this PM file. Otherwise, it's gonna throw up error saying that it's too open. Uh, the permissions wise, it's too open. So let's not change it now. Let me try to connect. You can see the error. So how do we do that? Is we give the EC2 PM file, and then we give the public domain, which is using EC2 user at this guy. So it's using that, and then if you see, it's complaining that it's trying to load this PM file, and it's saying the bad permissions. It's required that if private key files are not accessible by others. So we need to change the permissions. Let's change it. 400 EC2, and then we changed that permissions. Now if you look at the permissions, it's just read only. It's only just for the owner. Let's try to run the previous command again. I'm gonna do SSH into this. Now let's see, we did SSH into the EC2 machine. Right now we are in the EC2 machine. So what happened from the diagram perspective, we have let's assume that my laptop is here. So this is where my laptop is, and now when I do SSH, I'm able to do SSH into EC2 machine using the PM file. So I'm able to do that because I added the route here, internet gateway. This traffic went through the internet gateway, and then finally it reached out to EC2 machine. So that is possible because if you go to security group, and then here in the rules I added SSH protocol, right? If I delete that, save rules. Now let's see. So I'm gonna exit this. It's already disconnected, right? So let's try that. So let me try running the command ssh -i ec2, and then ec2 user at. See, I'm not able to do SSH now because I deleted the rule, so we're not allowing anything, any traffic into EC2 instance. So it's that easy to set up EC2 machine and configure the rules. Now if I go ahead and add rule, SSH custom, and then guy, and save rules. Right? Now if we go back here, now I'm able to do SSH. See, So it's very quick. It's gonna the new rules are gonna take effect immediately. um, Now I would like to show you how we're gonna allow the HTTP traffic for the service to be restart. So when we spin on the EC2 machine, remember we gave some command in user data. So there we did not give command to install HTTPD. We directly gave to start HTTPD. So before that we have to sudo m update y, so it updates the m packages, and we're gonna install httpd 24. So that's going to no package go. So it's gonna install httpd, and now if you go to the service httpd start, redirecting to start http service. So once that is done, we can sudo configure the web server to start when the so this command is not needed right now. So we start status. So if you look up the status, it's Apache HTTP server, it is running now. What we can do is, let's go back to our EC2 dashboard, and then we are having EC2 instance running here. Now if you copy this, let's go back here and browse for the public domain. Ideally it should show up the default Apache web page. Right now it's not showing because we did not have any rule added to the security group to allow the HTTP protocol. So what we can do, let's close that. We can go back to our security group, and then here we can add another rule. So edit inbound rules, let's add rule here, add HTTP, and then it's on port 80. We're gonna give open to the public, and then save rules, right? So what that means from the diagram perspective, we are in the security group around the EC2 machine. We are allowing the traffic on HTTP protocol. So that's one of the rules we added. So now if you browse with the public domain, see, we got the test page. This page is coming from the server, so the traffic is allowed. Now if you go back and remove the rule, save rules, then close that. Now I copied that. It's not coming, right? So it's still waiting. We see at the bottom, it's still waiting for the server to respond. So that is one concept I would like to show. On the other one now, let's say that we're gonna add inbound rule, HTTP again, and we're gonna add this open to public. Now like I said in the previous video, the traffic is coming through the internet gateway, right? So what happens if I go ahead and remove this route from the route table? Then there is no way that communication can happen from the internet to this public subnet, right? So let's do that. So let's go back to our subnets, which are VPC. Let's go to the route tables, and then we have we created this public route table. This is what we associated to the subnet, and then we go to the routes. We added this route yesterday, so that's why the internet traffic, it's coming through the internet gateway and flowing through that and going to EC2 instance. Now if we delete that, save routes, now there is no way that communication can happen. If you go back to the diagram, So here we disconnected. Internet gateway is still attached to the VPC, but there is no route established from the route table to the subnet. So we cannot reach that EC2 instance. Now if we go back here, let's go to EC2 instance. Let's go to security groups. Security groups, we still have rule added for HTTP. Previously we were able to see the page. Now what we are trying is we have removed the route from the route table for the internet gateway and see if we're able to access the page. Now I'm testing that. Let's see. We're not able to reach to the EC2 machine. That's because we removed the route. Now let's close that. Let's go back here. Let's go back to VPC and let's add that route again. It routes, add route. So this is going to be to the public internet. The target, we want it flow through internet gateway and save routes, right? Let's open the other page. Now if we browse to that, we got the page, right? So that's wonderful. So from the diagram, so that's all the concept for today I would like to show you guys. So what we tried today, we created EC2 machine within the subnet, and this is a public subnet because we attached the internet gateway to VPC, and then we use that internet gateway in the route table, and we associated this route table to this subnet. That's why we call this subnet as public subnet, because we are allowing the internet to flow through the internet gateway and reach to this subnet. So any resource that is created here, so for example if I go ahead and create one EC2 machine here, then that becomes accessible from the internet. And so yeah, that's all guys for today. And stay tuned, and I'll be continuing the rest of the concepts in the upcoming videos. How the private subnet works and what's the concept behind that, why do we need to have these two different subnets, and why do we stop internet communication to this private subnet and all of that. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Please feel free to post your comments. And if you like this video, please click on like button, and please do subscribe. You'll get to see a lot more videos like this, and I'll catch you in our next video. Thank you. Bye.